Reading to you from my autobiography entitled I Count My Life by Sabbaths, Section 3, Chapter 4, New Friends. I was now making a whole lot of new acquaintances, both in church and out. When we drove back and forth on Sundays from Indianapolis, I never got to know any of the kids in Greenwood, even those who came to our church. My circle of friends was fairly confined to the kids at Calvary Christian School. Now, proximity to the children in the Greenwood community afforded me the opportunity to mix with them and to learn many of the bad habits and new facts of life. There was Taylor, Charles, and Brenda Davis, children of Courtney, nicknamed Blue, and Nanny. Larry and Donnie West, children of Junior Clydean and Ramona West. Included also were my friends James, Carolyn, Deanie, and Barbara Mason, the children of Coolidge and Della Mason. Then there was Denny Hilton, James Forward, James McIntyre, Kay Kennick, Joey Jordan, David Van Devener, Tommy Small, Dennis, Rebecca, Johnny, and Keith Myers, and others. I was a new kid on the block, an outsider, and it was tough trying to break into this crowd. Before it was over, I would change schools 7 times. All of the kids named above with their parents came to our church. The others did not, but were friends with the kids who came to our church. There was disparity in age as well. Taylor and Brenda were older and younger than I, respectively. Dennis Meyer was older than I. Charles, Larry, James, David, Joey, Kay, Tommy Small, Johnny Meyer, Denny Hilton, James Forward, and James McIntyre were my age. The rest, Donnie, Carolyn, Deanie, Barbara, and Rebecca, and Keith were younger. From my point of view, the difference in age is huge at that time in your life. Age difference as one gets older recedes as a factor, but in development, it's a sticky wicket. Add to this the fact that I was a late bloomer. Starting school at the age of 5 started the process. I was comfortable with older kids, therefore I gravitated to older kids. There are so many stories related to every one of these kids that it's hard to pick and choose which ones to tell. Kay Kennick drew my attention because her coloration was similar to my mom's. Black hair, black eyes, and olive skin. I developed a strong crush on Kay, but I was probably too strange and weird for her tastes. I tried to walk her home from school, but Joey Jordan kept interfering. I believe they lived next door to each other, and Joey probably felt protective of Kay, like you would an older sister. My social skills were so lacking that I didn't know what to do or say, but an incident occurred that ended any positive relationship with Kay that I had hoped would develop. We were standing on Kay's porch, and Joey and I became bellicose with one another, and before I knew it, Joey popped me in the nose. I wasn't supposed to ever fight, so I didn't have any option but to walk away, totally embarrassed. I still had feelings for Kay, but that was the end. I never tried to pursue a relationship with her again. I'd been told by both of my parents that I was never to fight. Indeed, I felt that if I ever did, my father would beat the daylights out of me. I adhered to this rule to my own detriment. But fortunately for me, 3 guys who weren't afraid to fight often came to my rescue. James Mason, James Forward, and Taylor Davis. They were all known to be tough guys, and their friendship with me offered a protection most of the time. Chapter 5, School, 6th grade. Going into the 6th grade meant the crosstown walk was over for me. The 6th grade was just across Madison Avenue, and my teacher was Mr. Ray Alisas. He was a short, portly, older man. In his past involvement in education and other school corporations, he had been a principal, but now he was in his latter career teaching 6th grade elementary for Greenwood. He wore wire-rimmed glasses, and he didn't put up with any kind of nonsense. During that year, at the edge of the Greenwood Middle School Street, Meridian Street, across from Our Lady of Greenwood Catholic Church, on the school grounds, some organization raised money with a paper drive. A dozen large bins were placed in a row, and people would come from all over town and dump their newspapers and magazines. One day at recess, we boys clambered all over those bins, and someone found a treasure trove of Playboy magazines. I had never seen the like, but I was instantly attracted. I found some pictures that I liked, tore them out, folded them up, and put them in my shoes. When we got in from recess, those who were in Mr. Allishouse's room got their pictures and magazines confiscated. My pictures were safe in my shoes. We were all lectured about the evils of pornography, and Mr. Allishouse made a big deal of throwing them away. Those who were in Mr. McIntosh's room had theirs confiscated also. The difference was Mr. McIntosh gave everyone in that room a big homework assignment to do in class while he propped up his feet on the desk and perused the porn. I said that Mr. Allishouse was a strict disciplinarian. He was. He didn't leave anything to go to the principal. He handled things in his own way. His approach was as follows. If you were acting up in his class, he would come up to you, grab you around the neck with both hands, similar to a chokehold, and shake you until your head rattled. He'd be speaking to you through gritted teeth while he was doing this. You hoped to God this would quit. I experienced this a time or two and saw other guys get it as well. No girl that I know ever got shaken. In today's world, Mr. Allishouse would be looking out from behind bars. But at last, Mr. Allishouse retired and went to work for the city of Greenwood. Nothing ever came of the Playboy magazine issue officially, but after school I was to go stay with Nanny Davis, one of the saints in our church, because my mother and dad were out of town. As I walked to her house across the tracks, I began to think about what would happen if I were caught with those pictures. What would my dad do or say if he found that I'd kept pictures of naked women in my shoes? Doing so in front of a saint of God in the church would mean a death sentence for me. But it didn't matter, because when I got to Nanny's house, my feet had sweated so much, the pictures were all stuck together in one piece, so I flushed them down the commode. I'm reading to you from I Count My Life by Sabbath, which you can get on Amazon and also in Kindle and Nook Forum.